Well, the occasion is the 25th anniversary of Gia's death. I emailed Stephen Fried, the author of Thing of Beauty, and he agreed to meet me in my apartment on 52nd Street, the same little apartment that I've always had when I knew Gia. And we're flying by the seat of our pants because this was just thrown together really quickly. I'm shocked that he's here in my apartment and thrilled at the same time. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Sandy. Nice to finally meet you.
Nice to finally meet you.
It took a long time.
It really did.
20-some years. I started hounding you probably in 1988.
Yes, after the Cosmo.
No, before that. The Cosmo article was, I originally wrote about Gia for Philadelphia Magazine in 1987.
Okay.
Which is when you started not talking to me.
I don't even think I know the Philadelphia.
That's how this all started.
Okay.
Not long after she died, her mom called in to a TV show in Philadelphia
I know
about
this.
AIDS.
I know this.
And the host of the show called me afterwards, and that's how I first got involved. And I started doing interviews for a magazine story, and which I could not get you to talk to me for. So
somehow I don't remember reaching out to me for that, but I remember further on down the road, and I have a letter that you wrote to me, but you delivered it, I think, to Elizabeth Watson.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had always been told. I mean, the people who were sort of giving me advice in this were Scavullo, who had been very cooperative. He turned out not to like the book so much, but he was very cooperative in the beginning.
Okay.
Lisette Catan, Monique Pillard, Kay Mitchell. Those are some of the people who were in the biz, who thought that the project was interesting. And Albert, who, was definitely disappointing because he did do an interview for the book, and he was very nice, but he was very protective of you. In fact, the day I interviewed with him, I always had a feeling you were there. Like
I was always there, but I was never told that he was interviewing you and he were having conversation.
We had an interview. I remember that studio had this big blinds that sort of closed everything off. Very cool. And so I remember going there thinking, one, I was there to interview Albert, but two, that maybe he and Liz would convince you to talk to me. And I did, like I said, I assumed you were sort of there hiding somewhere.
I'm not hiding, working. I work there every single day.
But you know what? The fact that you said that the stuff that was in the book about you was accurate means that other people took care of the storytelling, which was fine. Not that I got everything, but I think the only question was whether things in the book were accurate. And you and Janice Dickinson were my biggest disappointments in terms of the book. Now, you never agreed to be interviewed, so that was okay. Janice did agree to be interviewed. I actually went to California after she agreed to be interviewed, and she blew me off. And so, what can I say? And then after the book came out, we were emailing about this. Vanity Fair thought it would be interesting if I covered a shoot that you were doing with basically all the models who had been active when Gia was active.
Patty Hansen. Janice was pregnant.
Janice was there.
Lisa Taylor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the sitting, actually the sitting hadn't started yet, and I got a phone call from my editor at Vanity Fair saying that I needed to flee immediately because all the models refused to pose if I was there. Because they were protecting you from me.
But no one told me this.
No, I never thought that this was you. I always assumed this was just Janice being theatrical.
Very drama.
And I remember Lois Childs coming over to me.
She was there.
She was really nice to me. She came up to me and said, the book is really good, and I'm really embarrassed that this is happening, and there's nothing we can do. But she was really nice. And it was an interesting time because, of course, now I think that people are basically cool with the book. In part, it was very early in the AIDS crisis.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, when Cosmo excerpted the original magazine article, it was the first time Helen Gurley Brown had ever published the word AIDS in Cosmo, and that was in 1989.
In Cosmo.
Which is a little horrifying.
Right.
They had every other sex
it's
thing
true,
in there.
It is horrifying.
And so people were really nervous, and but then afterwards it was okay. But I'm trying to remember when you and I finally talked on the phone and how that happened. Because if I remember correctly, you called me at my house. We talked from my house like a couple years after the book came out. And I'm trying to think who set it up or who said that I should call you, but there was some kind of thing. But you and I talked on the phone. And you were very nice, and you told me that the book was accurate and that it was like reading your diary.
I do remember calling you, and I just don't know why I did it.
Somebody in the biz must have thought it would be an interesting thing to do.
Okay. I don't think so. I think that was just me. I just think I liked it.
So we finally did talk.
Right.
And it was kind of the early days of, after the book came out. I mean, the truth is, until the Gia movie came out, the response to Gia's story was pretty big, but nowhere near what it was after the movie came out.
That's my first question.
So,
did you have any idea how big the book was going to, how famous it was going to make Gia? That the book spawned the movie, which, has made her so ultra. Did you have any concept about what you were doing when you were writing this book? Did you really think this is really going to be like the hottest movie? Women today all over tell me it's the best film they've ever seen. The book is this and that. I mean, did you have any idea how...
Well, sure. It was my first book, so I thought that, of course, I thought everybody in the world would read it. I also found it quite incredulous that people didn't already know the story. I was surprised that people didn't know the story. And... But, it grew. But I always thought, first of all, that her story was worthy of that kind of attention.
Uh-huh.
And I must say that the best part of the incredible growth of interest in Gia is that it's serious-minded.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people's interest in fashion is a little, superficial.